yes, listen to me, listen to my story, but try and locate yours, try and find yours, because this is what these diaries of memories are about. I am opening up, I'm sharing my story, and I'm encouraging you to find yourself in what I'm reading about me. And if you don't find yourself, you will surely find someone in your life or in your circles that can relate to this. Now, if you don't know me and you just stumbled upon this video, my name is Lebupule. I'm an author, a memoirist. I've written 2 books, with the third one coming. All my books are titled Alone with different subtitles because it's a memoir and the stories and experiences and pivotal moments keep continuing. But I promise the third one is the last one because I know I have other genres that I want to write. I'm also a life coach, a teacher. I have a private space outside YouTube, outside the social media where we congregate. It's called Patreon. So all you do is patreon.com/lebupuleswork. Patreon.com/lebupuleswork. You join for free. And if you like what you like, you can then join the membership that you feel you will enjoy. But here on YouTube, I read and I reflect and I teach, and then we take it from there. So I'm going to start. I'm going to go ahead and just read, and then we will reflect a little bit. Okay, cool. Where do I start? My cousin. I started my cousin Tabo. My cousin Tabo, who was also my best friend, was a boy. Yes, Tabo was a boy. I spent a lot of my time with him and our crew. There was Mpigeleni and his cousin Jabu. Jabu was a gay boy. At the tender age of 10, he knew, and we all knew that he was gay. And as time goes on, I want to talk a bit more about that. At the tender age of 10, he knew, and we all knew that he was gay. This was the foundation of my rejection of the belief that gay people are gay by choice or they can be changed. I know that's controversial, but not anymore. It's 2025, guys. Can we move on? Then there was Vus number 11. Sorry, I just lost my, because I just remembered him. He's such a joy. Then there was Vusi number 11. There was another Vusi. We called him Vus number 9. He was excluded from the crew for reasons I will share as I reflect. Both the Vusis were named so because of their addresses. It didn't occur to us to call them by their surnames. So in Alex had avenues and numbers. So I grew up, when I was small, before we moved to East Bank, I grew up at 9 Avenue, and our yard number was number 11. So Vusi and I were in the same stand, same yard, because Alex, okay, I'm going to digress if I talk about Alex. Maybe I'll do a different video talking about Alex because it wasn't what it is now. Alex was, oh my God, Alex had trees. Alex had trees, and Alex had streams and creeks leading up to Jokskei River. I get emotional when I talk about Alex because, wow. At number 11 and at number 9, there were these long meadows, long grasses that we used to play at. But anyway, back to what I'm reading here. But verse number 11, because he stayed at number 11, and then there was verse number 9, because he was living at 9th Avenue, number 9, and he was not part of the crew because he was a baby. Okay, let me continue. I was normally the only girl in the crew, and I loved being with the boys. Children in our community, particularly the girls, would sing derogatory songs aimed at me. Asimbone bafazin, simbone madodin. Do you remember that song? If you're born in the 70s, 80s, and you lived in a township, you know this song, especially Gauteng townships. Asimbone bafazin, simbone madodin. Oh, that song used to break me. Yes, like, okay. She basically it meant she is never seen in the company of women, but she's always found in the company of men, implying that I was promiscuous. It did not matter that I was only 11 years old. What did I know about promiscuity at 11 anyway? These boys were my friends. I was one of the few girls in the community who was not scared of boys. I played with them. I fought with them. And I was with them all the time. I was not a tomboy per se, though I was not a girly girl either. I enjoyed my girlfriends very much. I played with them too. My closest friends were Lulu. Oh, Lulu. May her soul continue to rest in peace. And Nelly. I wonder what happened to Nelly. There was also Ndaku too. She and I had a love-hate relationship. There was something about boys that I loved and envied. I had a rare and acute sensitivity to societal inequalities placed in. I was actually busy trying to be a boy. My mission was to prove that I was so much like a boy, if not better. And this is subconscious. It wasn't conscious. As a little girl, I don't know, I was just drawn to, there was something that was free about boys that was not there in girls. A pivotal moment of my life was when I was about 10 years old. I had my first real fight. Well, my first beating, to be quite precise, from the boys. I was walking home from a local spaza shop after buying paraffin and bread for Busisiwe's mom, a neighbor. I was one of those obedient children that most community members would send to shops or ask to run little errands. I had my own selfish reasons for running these errands. I did it because I always got the change, 10 cents here and there, 20 cents, and sometimes 50 cents. Walking back from the shops that day, there were four boys standing at the corner, all between the ages 13 and 14 years old. My Ero, his real name was Errol, Vus number 9, you see, that's why he was excluded from the crew. Eddie and Kafena. Kafena called me. Yawna Dada, Itlamo. Hey Dada, come here. Dada is my childhood nickname bestowed on me by the people I grew up with in Alexandra. So if you call me Dada, I know we come from far. Yaona Dada, Tlamo. I refused. He rushed towards me and grabbed my arm. I pulled back. I put bread and paraffin down because you have your bread in your arm like this, and then paraffin, it's a 5 liter or 2 liter. So I put them down. He slapped me across the face. I slapped him back. He kicked me. I kicked him back. Within what seemed like a few seconds, I was on the ground, on the dusty ground of Alexandra Street, being kicked by all the four boys in broad daylight. The grown-ups just stared. Only one distant voice, I'll never forget that voice, actually shouted, Yalona, Tlalangana, oh, hey, you lot, leave that child alone. Oba, a friend of my brother's, rescued me. He was one of my older brother's friend. He chased them off and told them how cowardly they were. Opa dusted me off, walked me home, and told me that he'll look out for me. Whenever we saw each other in the streets, he would always ask whether had been bullied or not. Opa intervened whenever the boys fought, regardless. So I'm gonna end it here, and let's see, what we take out of this, because it is sensitive and it is talking to these gender dynamics that we have in the country. And I don't know if it's just us in South Africa, but this whole thing of not being friends with boys. I remember one of the conversations we would have on my Facebook page was around that a while back, where we were talking about how um, girls and boys from the get-go, from growing up in childhood, we are almost set to become enemies. I remember growing up, whenever we'd watch TV, remember daytime television was like kind of a new thing in the 80s and early 90s, and sitcoms were also just new. And we started to watch beyond the usual SABC 1 to TV1, TV2, TV3. There was now Mnet, and there was, we were opening up to more cultures, more things, or rather American culture, really. And it was always so fascinating for me to see in a show like Dawson's Creek, for an example, just to, show my age a little bit. The Dawson would have a best friend who's a girl. And it wasn't encouraged in my childhood, at least. Now it's happening. I mean, one of those friends is a girl, Portia, and it's normal now. But back then it wasn't normal. So I was considered an anomaly, and it was so weird whenever they find me playing with boys. And like I said, I mean, I I even now I'm not tomboy. I've never been a tomboy per se. But I really just wanted the freedom and the liberty and the freedom to be with who I want to be with, freedom of association, even though at the time there was no language for that. And I always felt like it was restricted somehow, either by the girls themselves, looking funny at me, or the boys beating me up to sort of teach me a lesson, that, who do I think I am? But more than that, the boys and Alex were very, very rough. Violence was the thing. And I don't think it's Alexandra Fela. I think it's also in Soweto. I think it's also in Tembisa. I mean, back then there were those gangs, Smolanyana gangs. I remember there was this unspoken rule that if you are a girl staying at Ninth Avenue, you cannot date boys, or you can't be seen with a boy from another street, from Seventh Avenue or Eighth Avenue or whatever. And there would be always a fight. And so there was also this thing of girls just always being beaten up by these boys. And this incident that I write about in this part, it's just one of many. It's really one of many. And in as much as I've spoken about the fact that I was bullied by boys as a little girl, I'm realizing now as I'm sharing with you that I don't think we speak about this enough. A lot of us, especially in the 80s, guys, the 80s were intense. And I'm not saying it was intense for boys, for girls only. I'm sure also with boys in their own way. But you'll remember that I'm writing this memoir from my own perspective, also from my own um, subjectivity as a girl. So what I saw was boys having it nice and easy, boys living freer, boys really just unleashed, just to use the late Vuyombuli's favorite word, unleashed, while the girls were sort of leashed. And I wonder if you can relate to some of these things, because I look back now and I realize that even now in adulthood, I mean, we do have made friends, but you do find that there's always that thing that, but you can't be best friends. There has to be something more, there has to be that thing that happens. There's just no way that you're friends with a boy or you're friends with a girl. And you see it also in social media. Someone saying, no, but now my man can't be best friends with a girl, or my wife can't be best friends with a male. So I think it comes from our upbringing. I don't know now with the millennials and the Gen Zs how it's gonna play out, but that's how it played out in my era and in my time. But I've always sort of resisted that, if you know what I'm trying to say. I always had a problem with it in a way. And I think in my own little girl's head, in my own ways, I tried to defy it. It's like I knew something is off with this system. And I think also not being friends as the different genders is part of why we have a problem in relationships. But, just to conclude, the dynamic was such that the boys have all the freedom and the girls had to toe the line, societally, in families, and in even unspoken ways. So yeah, what are you doing here, Kitara? My cat Kitara is here. She wants to come to the camera. But yeah, let me end it here and let's see how you see it, what your thoughts are, and if there's anything you can relate to. Otherwise, I will see you Friday with another teaching. This is my story, and I can't wait to hear yours.